Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay Black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Hey, folks, today's Monday, September 8th, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. I'm live here in Montgomery, Alabama, where I am attending a Black Organizers Strategy session. And so looking forward to sharing some of that with you when we can. But on today's show, Black caucus members in Missouri are staging a sit-in. Literally, they are sitting in the Capitol to call out Republicans who are trying to gerrymander, a racist gerrymander in Missouri, similar to what Republicans did in Texas. We will talk with some members about the very issue. The twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump gets a couple of wins from the Supreme Court, allowing him to racially profile Latinos. How y'all feel about those votes? White farmers in Arkansas, white fishermen in Rhode Island, white folks in Kentucky complaining, asking for a literal bailout. Wow, isn't that interesting? They now want socialism because Donald Trump's tariffs are destroying their economy. Oh, y'all know I got something to say about that on today's show. Also, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries appoints 3 Democratic members to sit on the GOP's new panel investigating the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. What the hell are they going to tell us? They were involved. Also, it's Fit, Live, Win, and we're talking to a Black urologist about the importance of early detection when it comes to prostate cancer. This is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Y'all, it's a whole lot I got to talk about. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling.
Folks, the gerrymandering battle continues after the Republicans, of course, did what they did in Texas. Now Donald Trump is leaning on Missouri Republicans do the same. Republicans there are trying to get rid of the congressional seat of Congressman Emanuel Cleaver in Kansas City. Now, Democrats are in the minority in the state, so they are actually having a sit-in. Joining us right now to talk about that is he's from Jefferson City, actually from Jefferson City, the Missouri State Representative Jeremy Dean. Jeremy, glad to have you on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So, again, explain to folks there the perilous situation Democrats face in terms of look, you can't stop them from doing what they're doing. So what is the point of the sit-in? Lay it out to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you set it up really great there, Roland, and I appreciate you having me on tonight to be able to spread the word about what's happening here. Missouri is very different than what we saw in Texas. Unfortunately, here in the state of Missouri, Democrats hold a super minority, meaning that Republicans can do anything in this building without a single vote from Democrats. And so that does mean that we can't stop this. We know that Republicans are taking their orders directly from Donald Trump, straight from Washington, D.C. They are being guided by that team in Washington, D.C. to take out Reverend and Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. So what we're doing here is trying to bring attention to what's happening in Missouri. For too long, voters have been able to not pay attention to what's going on, and it's far too past the point for that to happen. And so we're making noise across the state of Missouri, across the United States, to make this basically as painful as possible for these Republicans, to make them understand how bad this truly is for the state of Missouri and the United States.
I apologize, Jeremy. I'm having some audio issues here. So here's the thing that jumps out to me immediately when I think about this here. What Republicans are doing, again, trying to exert their power. But what they're trying to do here is, again, is akin to a racist gerrymander by targeting Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. Look, you only got 2 African Americans in the state, Cleaver in Kansas City and Congressman Wesley Bell in St. Louis.
Yeah, and this is just part of the course, right? Like, the Republicans have shown us time and time and time again that their number one priority is to overturn the will of the voters, especially here in the state of Missouri, whether that's reproductive rights or just having a minority group or Black people being able to have the representation that they deserve in the United States Congress. Right now, you may see that they didn't really touch the 1st congressional district that Congressman Wesley Bell sits in, because it is theoretically protected by the Voting Rights Act, although we know how much protection that really has. So they went after the pick that they did, which was Emanuel Cleaver, and they are splitting a historically Black neighborhood directly into 3 separate districts in order to be able to get this done. It is a racist attack. It's a direct attack on the Black community, because they know that the Black community stands up whenever they need to make their voices heard. And the Republicans in the state of Missouri simply don't want to hear their voice.
All right, you can't stop them. What are you saying to the voters about what they can do? Because the reality is they can be stopped at the ballot box.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we're telling them. The number one message that we have from this is that this can go on no longer. 2026 may be the last chance that we have at saving our country from the megalomaniac that's sitting in the White House, making sure that people understand that that this is happening in the State House of Missouri. There are people sitting in this chamber on the Republican side that won their district by less than 100 votes. So when we have apathetic voters not going out, not voting, that allows them to continue to win these seats and continue to take control of the state. So getting the message across that you truly do have value and you do have power in your vote, but only if you utilize that vote. And so we have to show what is happening here in the state of Missouri, because this doesn't just affect Missouri. When we lose Congressman Emanuel Cleaver in Washington, D.C., we lose a voice not only for Kansas City, but for people across the United States. Everybody deserves to have representation, whether that's from the state of Missouri or whether it's from Delaware, it doesn't matter. And so they have to get up, they have to vote, because we can stop this.
All right, then. Representative Jeremy Dean, look, good luck with it. It's about, of course, representing the people, and hopefully people are really understanding what y'all are doing and how vitally important this is to fighting democracy and to fight these racist gerrymandering the Republicans are leading across the country.
Yeah, and if I can just add one more thing with the initiative petition process, since it's down there on the bottom of the headline, that is another thing that Republicans are attacking here in this state. A lot of people don't know what the initiative petition process is, and it's an extremely valuable tool to the citizens of the state of Missouri. And what that is citizens can go out by themselves. They collect signatures to get a priority that they have on the ballot, and then they show up to the ballot and can pass that with a simple majority. The reason that it's important in Missouri is because Republicans control the state of Missouri and consistently let voters down. They aren't here focusing on the fact that people can't afford rent, the fact that 364,000 Black women have lost their jobs since Donald Trump has taken office. They don't care about gas prices, grocery prices. None of those things do they actually care about, and that's what our voters are asking us to care about. We're spending nearly $30,000 a day, if not more, just to run this special session so that we can continue to lick the boot of Donald Trump. We have to stop this, and this is the way that we're going to do it.
All right. Representative Dean, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely, Roland. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for being the voice of Black America.
All right, then. Folks, got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
To the Black Star Network.
I have name recognition, but I tour more than any rapper. And it's a lot of overseas stuff. And it's like I'm going all over I've been to 80 countries in my lifetime. And sometimes I'll do interviews with people and they be like, so what you been doing? Like, what you been doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just came back from Belgium and Brazil and South Africa. What you been doing?
Right.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
D.C. has been ravaged and taken over by tanks, soldiers, police officers over the last 2 weeks, and it's only starting there. Trump has announced that he also has plans to bring this to Chicago, Baltimore, and New York City. So we're going to dig into it. This is On the Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
Hello, we're the Critter Fixers. I'm Dr. Bernard Hodges.
And I'm Dr. Terrence Ferguson.
And you're tuned in to
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, we're bringing my panel right now, Dr. Amakongo Dibinga Sr., Professorial Lecturer, School of International Service, American University. Also, Christopher Bruce, lawyer and lobbyist out of Atlanta. And Dr. A.D. Carson, Associate Professor of Hip Hop at University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia. Amakongo, I want to start with you. I mean, look, we're seeing what happened. This is an arms race. You got Republicans who are pissed off that California countered Texas, so they're trying to gerrymander Missouri. You're looking at Florida. You're looking at Ohio. And so Democrats are talking about it in New York State. But the key here is this is an absolute attack on black political representation. That's what people need to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can also go to the Supreme Court and everything that they're doing as relates to voting rights. When I think about what happened in 2024 with the last election, everybody talks about, well, we had fair elections and Donald Trump came out the winner. Well, we had free elections, but they weren't fair. And this is one of the reasons that it's not fair is because of what they're doing with gerrymandering, in addition to everything that they've been doing with their voter suppression efforts. And to be quite honest, Roland, I'm getting a little bit concerned because Gavin Newsom has been the only one from the Democratic Party in terms of governors who has been talking about actively starting this process of the redistricting. But I've heard people like Hochul say we're not going to stand for it. I've heard Governor Moore say that they're considering it. But we're in, September now? When are people going to get on the good foot as it relates to this? When this story first came out about what they were doing in Texas, I was on this show saying that Democrats should not be waiting. They shouldn't have this mindset of, well, if Texas does it, we're going to do it. They need to do it, period. Florida's already messing around, and there's other random states out there that I'm sure we're just not hearing, but they're just sailing under the radar. And before you know it, there's going to be about 6 or 7 other seats that have been added in addition to Texas that people just didn't know was going to happen. And this is why Democrats need to be on the offense. What Gavin Newsom doing is great, but it's still a defensive move. They need to overwhelm these voters, these Republicans in every way, shape, or form. And when I hear a story like this today, I just can't stop but think about the other states. So it's time for Moore, for Hochul, other governors who've been thinking about doing this. This is a war for our future, and not just Black people in America, but this country in general. We have a president who's not going to try to leave, and we have a House that's not going to try to lose power in 2026. All they know how to do is cheat because their positions are unpopular.
Is they are scared to death they're going to lose the House. That's why they're trying to, in essence, proof this election by rigging it. That's all this is about, is naked partisanship, but also it is racist gerrymandering. That's what this is. Christopher, can you hear me?
Are y'all surprised?
I think he's muted.
Like, this is Missouri, okay? This is the show me state. More like the show me that we're a racist state. From the state that brought you Ferguson, let's not forget about that, and all the racism that happened from there. Let's go all the way back. This is a state that brought you the Dred Scott decision. So the people who have said you're a Black person who will never be a person, and we are never going to identify any type of rights that you will ever have, because Black men and Black people are not humans altogether. This is Missouri. They are showing you who they are, just like Republicans show you who they are. Democrats have to wake up. In fact, I'm not even going to say Democrats have to wake up. Democrats already know what the deal is. They're just not leading. They're not doing anything to really stand up and say, we have to fight back. And you know why? Because Democrats play by the rules. Well, hey, if the rules are saying you're not a person, then throw the rules out the book. Those rules are completely immoral. And they're set up for people to win, for Republicans to win. So you have to do something different. Like was said before, Gavin Newsom, what he's doing is a reactionary issue. Democrats have to go on the offensive. How do you go on the offensive when you're not on power? Well, Republicans were doing that during the Obama administration, thwarting almost everything that he was trying to do, even when the Congress was, the Senate and the House had Democratic rule to it. So what you can do right now is what we're doing right now, making sure that people are educated. A lot of people do not know about these issues. I cannot tell you how many calls I've gotten on what is gerrymandering. No, this is a time when everyone needs to be on the same page and make a decision on what they want in this future. And in this future, we know it's not just going to stop with Missouri or Texas. Republicans know they're not even popular within their own party, but they are going to keep power. And it's going to be up to Democrats. Let me take out Democrats. It's going to be up to the people to say, do you want to live in a democracy or not? Because it is faltering, and it's going to get to a point where it's going to be over for America as we know it.
Well, Dr. Carson, to that point there, I've made the point that we've got to have in this country what I call freedom schools. We've got to have City Hall 101, State Government 101, Congress 101, Judicial Branch 101, because there are a lot of people who really don't understand how the dots are all connected. And so when we talk about these issues, we talk about the impact to what you just heard there, when people don't even know what gerrymandering is, not realizing what really is at stake. And the other thing is this here, is that, you know, there are people who say, a lot of African Americans say, man, I don't want to hear all this Democratic talk. But this is very simple. You got two choices. It's going to be Democrat or Republican. And as Dr. Greg Carr always says, that the Democratic Party should be seen as a delivery agent. It's not the be-all, the end-all. It's not amazing and wonderful and great and is always protective of black interests. But the reality is one person is going to win. They're either going to be a Republican or a Democrat. And we see that MAGA Republicans don't give a damn about black people at all.
You know, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak a little bit about this. I feel like one of the ways that we lose people is that we don't make the rhetorical stakes as clear as they possibly could be. And so in my work, I'm engaging with young people all the time who are particularly interested in hip hop and in music and in cultural products, but then we have all of these ways that those cultural products are kind of filtering out anything that seems newsworthy or noteworthy. And so the places where we might have previously learned some of these things are through cultural production, like music, through hip hop, and places like after-school programs, or places like freedom schools, places like, you know, like the institutions where I imagine like my political education comes from, you know, which is in dialogue with really the rap music that people thought was the worst thing in the world for the young people who were growing up during that time period. And I think that one of the ways that we might, in lieu of some kind of overhaul instantly, intervene in some of these issues about political education is to hold ourselves and our cultural producers to task, you know, to help to intervene in some of these things, which is, you know, primarily what I'm interested in doing, not in like asking a rapper to be more politically astute than he or she really is, but to say that these things that are being produced should say something about the world that we're living in, and even the things that don't say anything particularly about gerrymandering, particularly about the political process, particularly about the rhetorical stakes that exist right now. It should still be instructive for us to be able to utilize that in order to bring folks into the conversation who feel like these conversations are absolutely not about them, are not listening to them, and have nothing to do with them at all. And so I think that that has a whole lot, or that puts a lot of work on us as the folks who might consider ourselves in the know, to try to bring the conversation in accessible ways to people who might receive that information and then act accordingly.
Well, yeah, and I just think that, you know, listen, you got a lot of young folks who are not happy with the direction of the country. There are people who have sat out. There are people who said, hey, you know what, you know, I don't want to participate. But guess what? Rights are being taken. I think about all of these students who were complaining about student loan debt and wanted Biden to completely outlaw it. Well, the Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional, and Donald Trump don't give a damn about that. And so they're rolling that stuff back. And so people are going to have to, in Congo, people can start talking about all this lesser of two evils crap that they want. You are seeing evil. The Supreme Court, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, literally said, oh, yeah, Trump, ICE can actually stop people based upon characteristics like speaking Spanish and how they look. That is racial profiling, pure and simple. So people need to understand these are white supremacists who literally are snatching people off the streets. The stakes are high, and if these people are allowed to remain in power another 2 years, 4 years, they're going to cement power for 100 years.
Oh, absolutely. And just real quick on the student loan piece, note that ICE, one of the parts of its job offering is student loan debt repayment. So if you join them, you can get your student loans paid off. And so even that, Trump has found a roundabout way to make sure it benefits his supporters. The fact of the matter is that Republicans have always looked historically at Democrats who win elections as cheaters. You can go back to Newt Gingrich. You can go back before that. This is what they do, and Donald Trump is a culmination of it. And now more than ever, particularly with a Congress that has given him the green light to do whatever he wants, they see that this is their greatest opportunity to seize power. This is why Donald Trump is saying, I feel entitled to these seats and everything else. This is a guy just got announced that his family's now worth about $5 billion. And so people are seeing daily, hopefully paying attention to the fact that he is ripping them off at every single juncture. And this is, as people talk about the second Gilded Age that we're living in right now, well, one of the ways the Gilded Age came to the end before with attacking of the robber barons was people realized that they were getting screwed. They were getting played. And this is happening on every level now. And I know we're going to talk about this later with the agriculture, but so many people are having find out moments right now. But the question, Roland, becomes, what do you do once you find out? Because when we watch some of these videos, people are complaining and the like, but they still are not saying they'll vote for Democrats. They're still not saying they're going to vote against Trump, or they're going to, even stay home when the next MAGA person runs. And that's the next part of this, because they are so downtrodden, but they don't feel like they have anywhere else to go. And then you add that to the 90 million people who stayed home. And there's a lot of people out there who I'm still not convinced are going to come out for Democrats in 2026, despite all of this that's happening. Maybe more of them need to hit rock bottom, as Dr. Carr is always talking about. Maybe they're not there yet, but we need the Black Star Network. We need what we're doing here to continue to raise awareness, because, I have a daughter in college. I have a daughter and senior in high school and a fifth grade son. And I think about what's happening to their potential future. That makes me get energized and motivated every day. You talk about, your nieces and nephews and stuff and all of that. We have to continue to make this personal if we want to see this change happen.
Folks, hold tight 1 second. Going to a break. We come back. Y'all see me wearing my shirt. MAGA chose between woke or broke. They chose broke. And we're going to talk about these whiny, crying Arkansas farmers and farmers in Iowa and Nebraska and voters and folks who work for distilleries, whiskey distilleries in Kentucky, fishermen in Rhode Island. All of these people voted for Donald Trump, and now they're crying because the tariffs are causing them to lose their businesses and lose their jobs. Y'all know we got something to talk about. Right, that's coming up next. Don't forget, support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars are critically important for us to be able to do the show that we do. Our goal is to raise $1 million between now and December 31st. Folks, it's 4 months. It is very simple. If 20,000 of our fans contribute on average $50 each, that'll raise $1 million. We've already raised $125,000, so we just need to raise $875,000. So your support is absolutely critical. We've got lots of things we want to do. We want to hire additional reporters. We want to be able to add new shows, and so all of that absolutely matters. So, folks, do us a favor. Contribute. If you want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right there. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. We'll be right back.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I have name recognition, but I tour more than any rapper. And it's a lot of overseas stuff. And it's like, I'm going all over I've been to 80 countries in my lifetime. And sometimes I'll do interviews with people and they be like, so what you been doing? Like, what you been doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just came back from Belgium and Brazil and South Africa. What you been doing?
Right.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Immigrants lured off Texas streets and shipped to places like Martha's Vineyard and Washington, D.C. Believe it or not, we've seen it all before.
You people in the North, you're so sympathetic to Black people. You take them.
60 years ago, they called it the Reverse Freedom Riots. Back then, Southern governors shipped black people north with the false promise of jobs and a better life. It's a part of a well-known playbook being brought back to life. So what's next? That's next on the Black Table, a conversation with Dr. Gerald Horne about this issue of the Reverse Freedom Riots, right here on the Black Star Network.
This week on the other side of change,
DC has been ravaged and taken over by tanks, soldiers, police officers over the last 2 weeks, and it's only starting there. Trump has announced that he also has plans to bring this to Chicago, Baltimore, and New York City. So we're going to dig into it.
This is On the Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
Next on A Balanced Life, here on Black Star Network, we're talking what it means to be a balanced young adult and turning 21. I know 21 is one of those ages where you think you're grown. You can do whatever you want. The law says that you can. But what are you packing in your 21-year-old toolkit that will allow you to not only survive, but to thrive?
You have every right to make whatever decision that you want to make, okay? Because you're grown. Don't go out here and do something and then want to come back and expect somebody else to clean it up for you.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
Me, Sherry Shepard, with Sammy Roman.
I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, if y'all want to get this T-shirt here where it says MAGA chose between woke or broke, they chose broke, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com. I was flying from D.C. to Montgomery, Alabama today, and trust me, there were a number of people who stopped me on the plane, white folks, even here in Alabama, said, man, I love that shirt, and it speaks to what's going on. So, y'all, don't you just love this? Last time that idiot Trump was there, he totally wrecked the farming industry. Soybeans, other crops. China was buying that stuff from us, but his tariff war just crushed farmers. So what ended up happening? American taxpayers footed the $25 billion bailout of these farmers. You had dairy farmers in Wisconsin, farmers in Iowa, in Illinois, who were losing their family farms. And you know what? Some of the people are so stupid. I remember reading this one story. This one guy said, yeah, he lost a family farm, but you know what? He would vote for Trump again. I'm like, y'all have got to be stuck on stupid. So guess what? Red states. Arkansas, oh my God, these farmers are crying. Nebraska, the governor called Trump, said, please stop your ICE raids because we're losing GDP in Nebraska. You've got folks in distilleries, whiskey distilleries in Kentucky filing for bankruptcy. Why? Well, because after Trump pissed off the Canadians, they stopped buying American whiskey. So you got $500 million worth of whiskey sitting in warehouses. So this thing is happening all around the country. But over the weekend, y'all, I got a huge kick out of listening to these crying and whining Arkansas farmers. These are the people that voted for Trump in a huge way. Now they're like, oh my God, we need help or we're going to lose everything. Y'all got the video, roll it.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love. 5 of my customers have committed.
That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made a decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Well, Christopher, all I have are my thoughts and prayers. Maybe they should go talk to their governor, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who used to lie for Donald Trump. And so he's to blame. So I don't want to hear anything. And isn't it amazing? They don't believe in socialism, but now they want a bailout because Donald Trump's tariffs are destroying their family farms.
Yeah, and you know what? This is nothing new. The farming industry has been bailed out plenty of times before, but now they have the person that they've always wanted, and they thought that Donald Trump was going to bring them to the promised land, and he has. And guess what? There's nothing there. They are a brutal thing. But what I'm mostly worried about is none of them have directly said, hey, I'm not voting for Donald Trump next time. I don't know if people actually really do deal with this type of situation. And it gets to me, to my core, about how messaging with Republicans happen. Every modern day Republican has actually added on to the deficit, while every modern day Democrat president has taken the deficit down. We're going back to the original George Bush, adding to the deficit. President Bill Clinton, decreasing the deficit. George W. Bush definitely added on to the deficit by hundreds of millions. Barack Obama steadied it and actually decreased our deficit again. And then you come up with Donald Trump, who is the president who has added to our deficit the most out of any other president ever imagined, with $3.2 trillion. Then you followed up by our next president, who actually decreased it. And now you have Donald Trump, who's going to increase it, and he's going to actually beat his own record with this new bill. And farmers, again, they want to keep this. The generations that they have done to feed America have had this happen. They're just voting for the wrong person. What is it going to take for them to wake up?
Well, AD, I'm just laughing because, again, hey, this is who they wanted. This is their guy. You know, and this is where I said Democrats, they should go to these broke white folks and say, I'm sorry, this is what y'all wanted. Y'all voted for this. So I'm telling you right now, no Democrat should vote to bail these folks out because they got exactly what they voted for.
Word. So on the one hand, it's like, yeah, thoughts and prayers, but it is also, I think it's not as funny to me as it is telling, because it feels as though these folks don't see the gap between the logic between wanting this particular kind of representation that Donald Trump represents and them losing everything that they've worked for, or they don't make a connection between the thing that we might describe as socialism and them asking Donald Trump for a bailout. And so either way, it's telling that the political engagement and investments that we have don't really correspond to the reality that we're living in. And yeah, so that makes me understand that, of course, these people aren't going to talk about not voting for Trump again, because I don't know that they're connecting what's happening to them to Trump being the guy who is making the calls at this particular point, unfortunately.
Well, I just, Ome Congo, the thing for me is, I mean, I saw this video here. Y'all, let me know where y'all have it. This former Republican congressman was just crowing about, oh, my God, he owns distilleries and they've got a 50% tariff notice for glass. We're trying to figure out what to do. I mean, this is what you wanted. I mean, I literally, I'm sorry. I don't have any sympathy. None. I have no sympathy. I have no empathy. I don't care. I am unbothered. I'm unbothered about their feelings. I just am. Roll this video. Check this out.
You know, there's even personal examples. You know, I own distilleries, not only AI companies, but I own distilleries. But we just got a 50% tariff notice for glass and some of the other things that we use to do bottling on our lines. And for the last 2 weeks, we've been trying to figure out what do you do, right? Do you actually raise prices? Do we limit production? What do we do with bottles? Do we forward lean and get more bottles, right? When I talk about pallets, I'm talking thousands and thousands of dollars in added costs for our companies. I can't imagine what it's doing to larger manufacturers if you go downstream on tariffs. The economy is the single biggest thing here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I can tell you that, especially with the job losses up north with government jobs and contractor jobs, and you're seeing sort of these arbitrary cuts coming down right through DOGE and through other mechanisms. So for right now, I think the economy is not in a great place. If you look at the revised June numbers going down, only 22,000 jobs added this month. The messaging, I think, from Democrats and independents could be simply, this is a failed experiment in the first 8 months, and there has to be a course correction.
On Congo, I don't give a shit if all of their businesses shut down.
Well, if that's what it's going to take for them to wake up and smell the coffee or smell the crops or whatever it is, then it looks like it's going to have to be so be it, because none of these guys seem to have a plan to do anything counter to Trump. And the reason why I care is because whenever many of these folks in communities experience downturns, we always suffer more, either directly through violence or through other economic types of issues. And so when I think about these farmers in particular, one of the things I noticed in those videos I was watching over the weekend is that there were no black farmers there. And so when Trump does bail these farmers out, you know what? They're going to go to court to make sure that the black farmers don't get any of it. So again, the inability to think Fred Hampton style in terms of coalition building is what's going to continue to do these guys in. And another thing I'm thinking about is USAID and how Elon Musk, closed that down. And this was one of the main areas where these farming products were actually going. How could these farmers not be mindful enough to know that much of their products that were going around the world were being distributed through USAID? But hey, go cut it, let it go, waste, fraud, and abuse. So like you said, USAID, that would be part of that woke thing that they chose not to do, and they're going broke right now. That lady talked about 5 people committed suicide. I remember in 2018 when the Department of Agriculture was sending notices about what to do about your farm, there was numbers for the suicide hotline attached to those packets as well. This is what he does. And he's like the guy, Trump is like the guy who goes hire somebody to come and try to rob him and his girlfriend so he can beat them up and become the hero. He needs people to depend on him. He needs people to for him to be able to say, I'm your savior, I'm going to be the one to help you. And he picks and chooses who gets that. So even when that bailout comes for them, black farmers ain't going to get it. But now you're talking about these distilleries. You're talking about all these other businesses. Is it still going to be enough for them to say, I am going to vote for the other guy? I'm going to vote for the other party regardless. I am still not convinced, because I even remember World War II when Hitler's soldiers were losing, and some of them to their dying day or even as they were getting arrested were still saying Hitler was right. And I feel like so many of them are still brainwashed to this day. So we're going to see a lot more find out moments, Roland.
Well, absolutely. And so I have said repeatedly that a lot of white people are going to have to feel maximum pain, maximum economic pain, for them to wake up from this cult that they're in. And so when they do, I'll be here with the thoughts and prayers. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, we come back. Donald Trump declares war on Chicago. A black reporter questions him. He insults her integrity as well as her intellect. And Maryland Governor Wes Moore responds to the sheer stupidity of Trump having no clue the National Guard does. We'll talk about that next. In addition, we'll talk to Elie Mystal about how the Supreme Court is allowing racial profiling to take place in this country. That makes Stephen Miller extremely happy because he's an absolutely racist white nationalist. All of that right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, we talk about the principles of mindset, strategy, and execution. This week, we're adding a fourth, faith. You're going to hear from a mother and daughter duo who are helping thousands of Black women build wealth, all through their faith.
You are more than you can ever imagine. Not just obtaining things to show that, but seeing yourself.
Making your faith work for you. That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
DC has been ravaged and taken over by tanks, soldiers, police officers over the last 2 weeks, and it's only starting there. Trump has announced that he also has plans to bring this to Chicago, Baltimore, and New York City. So we're going to dig into it.
This is On the Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I have name recognition, but I tour more than any rapper. And it's a lot of overseas stuff. And it's like, I'm going all over I've been to 80 countries in my lifetime. And sometimes I'll do interviews with people and they be like, so what you been doing? Like, what you been doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just came back from Belgium and Brazil and South Africa. What you been doing?
Right.
Hello, I'm Paula J. Parker. Truly proud on the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder on Disney+. And you're watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
So a lot of people use phrases like fascism, authoritarianism, and stuff like that. Let's just simplify this. Donald Trump wants to be a dictator. He wants to be a king. This idiot posted this over the weekend, talking about declaring war on Chicago, okay? This was a Truth Social, whatever the hell that thing is as. And so if y'all can show it, that'll be great. So he literally declaring war. Like, look at this idiot. Okay, and the White House fully embraces this. All right, so this took place, and keep in mind how this man talks. Now remember, he was talking in the Oval Office about crime, and he literally said about some black folks, "Oh, you know what? These people, they're always going to be criminals." Watch this.
Criminals. These are hardcore criminals. You know, we took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people. Washington, D.C. is now a safe zone. It's a safe place.
I want you to play it again. That man literally was talking about black people. Play it again.
Criminals. These are hardcore criminals. You know, we took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people. Washington, D.C. is now a safe zone. It's a safe place.
This is the same racist who called for the Central Park Five to be put to death. Governor Wes Moore, this was his response to Donald Trump's call for the National Guard.
They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals.
And I want to speak directly to our children as well. And please hear me loud and clear. Do not listen to what Donald Trump called you yesterday. When the president from the Oval Office calls you natural-born killers, children who are born to be violent, I say this: I respect the office, but I will never honor ignorance. To our children, you are loved and you're needed. To our children, we believe in you and we invest in you. To our children, we love you and we are going to honor every God-honored potential that you have. To our children, there's nothing we won't do to keep you safe. To our children, we love you and we are going to make sure that you are never bullied, and I don't care what position they hold. Because I want to be clear, if I listened, when I was coming up, if I listened to the tropes and to the trolls, if I listened to the haters and the heartless, if I listened to the Archie Bunker mindset and the dog whistling, if I spent my time focusing on those people who did not love me instead of focusing on those people who do, I would never be the 63rd governor of the state of Maryland and the only black governor in the United States of America. Here in Maryland, we believe in you. We're going to support you. We're going to make sure you're safe. And we're going to make sure that every God-honored opportunity is within your grasp.
AD, simply that's how that racist feels, and he doesn't care. He literally said, oh, these black folks, they're born criminals.
Yeah, well, you know, this is maybe one of the subtle benefits of police and what folks teach is that we can hear this man speaking in the ways that he's speaking, and we've become so desensitized to it that we don't even see it as alarming as it really is. Of course, we know that war metaphors have never gone over well for black folks in this country. Even when they went back and tried to turn it into something about cleaning up, those metaphors also still have not done much benefit of black folks in this country. But then we have to understand that the naked racism that we are seeing now, I don't know if there's a point in time where it hasn't existed. It's just that now the person who is the president of the United States feels so emboldened to say those things from that office in his capacity as president of the United States. And please, please understand that there are lots of people who absolutely believe what he's saying. And so our efforts to combat it, I don't even know if our efforts to combat it should be at the level of trying to intervene and say that what he's saying is wrong, so much as we have to be able to shift this conversation in such a way that we're not engaging with the garbage that he spews, but we're making it very clear what that garbage is related to, like what it has done. Like the war metaphors correspond to terror against black people. And so I think that we need to make that, we need to make it explicitly.
I don't believe, Omekongo, that we have a choice here but not to call out. It's a perfect example. So Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt gives one of the most racist speeches last week. We called it out. We told our folks about it. Hey, Chuck Schumer, he ain't said a word. Bernie Sanders ain't said a word. Elizabeth Martin ain't said a word. I don't think Ken Martin has said a word, chair of the Democratic National Committee. And so I think part of the deal, and this is their whole deal, well, it was a distraction. No, here's the piece. We've got to have the exact same focus as black folks did during Jim Crow. We've got to be willing to call these people out, because we also have to use these moments to raise the issue, call them out, so we can educate our own people so people understand. So all these brothers in neighborhoods across the country who were sitting here like, oh, Trump is going to put money in my pockets. No, he thinks you're thugs. He thinks you were born a thug. He wants to put you away. And I think, again, we do not have the luxury of ignoring the racist diatribes that come from this man's mouth. It is without a doubt Donald Trump is the most racist occupant of the Oval Office since that virulent racist Woodrow Wilson.
Well, one thing on Senator Schmidt, I didn't see anybody covering it until after it was talked about on your show, to be clear about that. When we talk about, Trump being the most racist since Woodrow Wilson, that's absolutely true. And one of the things people have to pay attention to, as we do here at Black Star Network, the language that this man is using, Roland, as you know better than anybody, is the same language that led to the 1994 Omnibus Crime Bill. This is that super predator talk. This is all of that talk that Hillary Clinton used. This is all of that talk over and over again. And on top of that, Trump is actively talking about, I'm looking to meet with Mike Johnson and Thune to talk about a crime bill. That is the language they are using. And these other networks and platforms are not talking about that. He wants to bring back another form of the 1994 crime bill. And we know what it did to our community. And the fact of the matter is that people are not picking up on that. And they're just saying, oh, that's just Trump being Trump. He goes against everybody. He's using direct language to justify this is the same language. The language that he used about Latinos is a language that helped justify what's happening to that community right now. And so now he's throwing out more language about us, the criminals, the violent, born to be this way. All of the talk that has been used in this country historically to keep us down, to keep us in prison, to keep us enslaved, to keep us shackled, he's bringing it all back, because he knows that there's an audience for it, and he knows that these Republicans will give him whatever he wants. And so, yeah, we need to call it out. We need to challenge businesses that support him in any way, shape, or form and support this type of rhetoric, because if not, those same brothers who are going to be like, oh, yeah, Trump put money in my pocket, now they're going to be like, Trump put me in prison. And that's what he wants, because he wants to please his billionaire prison industrial supporters who said when he got elected that this is going to be the best time in history for our business. And that's what he's about. He wants to put them in there just like he's putting people he's picking up off the street under these ICE raids as well. Gotta call it out.
And as hatred of black women continues, Elie Mystal of NBC asked him about what he posted regarding declaring war on Chicago. And here is what the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon con man in chief, sexist SOB, said.
That's fake news. When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would the Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Darling, be quiet. You're second rate. You don't listen. This is a statement the National Association of Black Journalists, I'm Vice President Digital, released. NABJ reaffirms commitment to press freedom and professionalism. The National Association of Black Journalists affirms the essential role that black journalists play in American democracy. For generations, our members have asked the tough but fair questions, held power accountable, and told the truth about our country with courage and professionalism. A free and fair press is not a partisan issue. It is the foundation of democracy. Journalists do not ask questions for themselves, but on behalf of the public. Respect for journalists and their work is more important than ever. When journalists show up to do their jobs, they should not be personally attacked and impugned by subjects they cover. NABJ will continue to champion black journalists like our 2020 Journalist of the Year, Elie Mystal, who show up every day with integrity, rigor, and clarity, and who carry out the mission every day with professionalism and courage. We will continue to show up, ask the necessary questions, and do so with professionalism, rigor, and respect for our democracy. When we protect the press, we protect the people. Aaron Haynes, NABJ president. Christopher, again, the man, he can't stand black women. He hates when they question him.
Well, he can't stand women altogether. He thinks they're play toys that he can do with whatever time he wants. But he especially cannot stand black women. He especially cannot stand black educated women who are out there in the field asking the hard questions. So I applaud NABJ for actually having that type of statement put out. I applaud them for focusing on this, especially at a time when last year they invited Donald Trump to their conference in Chicago. We all know that blew up in a certain way. So now we're in a situation where they are calling him out like they've always should have, and they are going further with it. The reason why I want to focus on that is because I want to focus on what Governor Wes Moore had talked about before. Governor Wes Moore gave a calling to all people saying, let's make sure we talk to our children. Let's make sure we talk to our children, our communities, make sure that we can drown out all the noise constantly attacking Black people. President Trump is going to continuously do this. If we can go ahead and make sure that our community, our children are saying, we're not going to listen to Orange Man, who is a felon, who knows absolutely nothing about us. And we're going to develop a community within ourselves. We need to have organizations like NABJ for a free that focuses on our issues. That's why it's great that they did that. The point is, like Governor Westmore said, we need to get ourselves. You know the saying about make sure you put on your mask first before you put on somebody else's mask when they're talking about an airplane? Before we save this country again, the American people, the Black American people, need to come together in a community, make sure that we are together. So no matter what force is coming against us, we will rise above. And that's the way that we're going to take back this country for us and democracy.
Well, we can talk about take back, but when you got these white folks in the Supreme Court who believe racism is okay, well, that's going to be real tough. Boy, the Supreme Court today give Latinos their wake-up call in a 6-3 decision. The Supreme Court reversed a lower court ruling that folks, this is actually it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that race, ethnicity, and language can now be used as grounds for reasonable suspicion in immigration raids. That's right. It clears the way for ICE agents to conduct sweeping interrogation efforts in Los Angeles. The majority lifted a lower court restraining order that had blocked these raids. Yeah, Governor Gavin Newsom, this is the statement that he released after the Supreme Court decision. Trump's hand-picked Supreme Court majority just became the grand marshal for a parade of racial terror in Los Angeles. This isn't about enforcing immigration laws. It's about targeting Latinos and anyone who doesn't look or sound like Stephen Miller's idea of an American, including U.S. citizens and children, to deliberately harm California's families and small businesses. Trump's private police force now has a green light to come after your family, and every person is now a target, but we will continue fighting these abhorrent attacks on Californians. Elie Mystal is the justice correspondent for The Nation. He wrote an article that dropped today that's called "The Supreme Court Just Gave the Okay to Racial Profiling." Elie joins us right now. Elie, how you doing?
I'm terrible. This is one of the most racist decisions the Supreme Court has issued since Plessy v. Ferguson, and I can't express enough how disgusting it is and how, again, definitionally racist the Supreme Court was today.
Well, absolutely. And the thing that's insane to me, what's totally insane to me, is they're saying, oh yeah, if they look, if they sound Latino, look Latino, smell Latino, yeah, y'all go ahead and pull them over.
The court's outlined what's interesting here is that the court just said that racial profiling is now constitutional, right? And what's interesting here is that the government never tried to hide it, right? Like the government often, when they do horribly racist things, they're trying to say like, oh, actually, we're not being this racist because of that. Actually, it's not as bad as it looks. This time, the government was straight up, no, we are racially profiling Latinos in Los Angeles. They outlined 4 different factors, Roland, for why ICE is allowed to stop anybody, round anybody up, legal or illegal. They outlined 4 factors. One was, does the person look Latino? Not even is Latino. Do they just look Latino, right? 2, do they speak English with a Spanish accent, or do they speak Spanish? right? So if you now look Latino and you speak Spanish, you can be rounded up by ICE. 3 and 4 were what kind of job the person is doing, or again, appears to be doing, and where the person happens to be when ICE picks them up, right? So if you're a Latino person walking out of a Home Depot, guess what? You can be rounded up whether you were there for work or whether you were there to pick up a doorknob for your house, right? It is, again, definitionally racist. The government admitted to this level of racism, saying that you can round people up just because they look Latino and speak Spanish, and the Supreme Court was like, yeah, that's fine. 6-3, Brett Kavanaugh with the concurring opinion here. And what's wild, and I saw our friend Jamel Hill make this point, Roland, this is the same Supreme Court that says you cannot look at race when it comes to college admissions, right? So you can't look at race when it comes to whether or not you're allowed to go to college, but you can look at race when it comes to whether or not you have to go to jail or get deported from the country, right? It is absolutely insane to me. The other thing here that Kavanaugh did that I find so, I'm trying to find the nice word to it. It's the whitest thing possible, right? Is how Brett Kavanaugh described what it is to be stopped by ICE. He said it was a usually very brief, polite, and prompt conversation where if you're a legal immigrant or legally a U.S. citizen or just happen to be born here, where you're allowed to walk free after simply proving to ICE's satisfaction that you're a citizen, right? And of course, from Brett Kavanaugh's white-ass perspective, I'm sure that's what he thinks. But I bet, Roland, Brett Kavanaugh would react differently if the question was, hey, Brett, there have been a lot of rapes in this area, so we're just rounding up all the white guys to see if they committed any of these rapes. Hey, Brett, do you have a calendar perhaps that you could show that proves that you didn't commit any of these rapes? I bet Brett Kavanaugh would feel a lot differently if that's what the government was doing instead of simply racially profiling Latino Americans.
And of course, you've got the resident Negro, Clarence Thomas, agree with it. Alito, John Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, Sam Alito. And I mean, yeah, they've co-signed racism. They now here's the thing. All right, is this have a narrow? Is this narrow? I mean, basically, they've just said stop and frisk is now perfectly constitutional. I'm telling you, these folks are going to use this against black people.
Oh, they're going to use it against everybody. Anybody who thinks that this is going to stay in the Latino community is just, first, you lack empathy, and second, you're just fooling yourselves. If they can use racial profiling to round up Latinos, again, regardless of whether or not they're of legal status, you're absolutely right. It's going to come for black people next. It's going to come for Asian Americans next. You know, you're a Vietnamese woman working in a nail parlor. Guess what? You can be rounded up on suspicion of being an illegal immigrant, right? You're a Chinese man who happens to own their own dry cleaner. Guess what? You can be rounded up just in case ICE thinks that you're a legal immigrant. The other thing Brett Kavanaugh and the rest of the racist conservatives don't bother to explain is what does it require to prove to ICE that you're a citizen? I mean, even beyond the fact that you shouldn't have to show your papers, what papers do you need according to ICE? Because the Supreme Court makes no standards for what ICE is allowed to ask you or not, right? What they're allowed to require or not. Again, white folks, as far as I know, and I'm not white, so maybe it's a little bit different on that side of the tracks, but I don't know a lot of white people that run around with their birth certificates in their pocket, right? I don't know a lot of white folks that keep proof of citizenship in their wallets. And of course, white people don't have to, because white people know their proof of citizenship is on their face, right? Even if they're like are German, working in a beer hall. Oh, nobody's going to question them. They are clearly allowed to be here because of the color of their skin. Everybody else apparently needs to carry around papers that ICE can demand to be shown in the back of one of their trucks whenever they want. That is the upshot of this Supreme Court ruling. Brett Kavanaugh specifically addresses the fact that in many of these cases, the people who are round up, again, legal or illegal, are being brutalized. And he says, yeah, I don't have to concern myself with that. That's not an issue for this case. If they're being brutalized, there are other federal courts that you can go to allege police brutality, not mentioning the fact that Brett Kavanaugh has been a consistent vote to deny people access to the courthouse in cases of police and official federal brutality. Oh, he doesn't mention any of that. He just says he doesn't have to care about police brutality because that's going to be some other case. It is, I called it online, the most racist decision this court has made since Plessy v. Ferguson, because it is the straight-up application of a double standard based on the color of your skin in this country. If you are brown and on a train or on a bus, the government can snatch you off of that train and make you show your papers. If you're white, they can't. That's racism.
I'll tell you what, if you're coming here for the FIFA World Cup, no way in hell I would come to the United States or even the Olympics.
Well, I mean, look, if you're coming to cheer on the Germans, why not, right? If you're coming to cheer on Wales, I'm sure you're good, right? And I'm sure if you're coming to cheer on Argentina, you think you're going to be good. Because you think you're going to, because, you assume that white people have that card of, like, skin tone, okay, not okay. If you're Argentinian, I'm sure you feel like you're going to be on the right side of okay. But if you're Brazilian, can you be sure, right? If you're Ecuadorian, can you be sure that you're going to be on the right side of it? Don't dare try to come here, cheer on Team Mexico in the World Cup. We know what's going to happen to those folks. And quite frankly, don't come here to cheer on Ghana, neither, right? Don't come here to cheer on Tunisia, neither. Because you might not be on the right side of the color line. Because remember, folks, one of the things the Supreme Court said in this decision is that if you just look Latino, you can be rounded up. Looking Latino is enough, right? I'm Haitian. But do I look like I could be Dominican? I don't know. But apparently, if I do, according to ICE, then they can make me show them my papers. And since I was born in Queens, I don't got no paper. I don't know where my papers are to prove that I was born in Queens.
White folks whiting. This is the America that we're living in. That's what this boils down to, Elie. And listen, my book is called White Fear for a reason. These people, they want a white nation. They, over the weekend, Elon Musk is posting a bunch of tweets talking about the white fertility rates. And it's, but no one cares about this. And I was like, well, take your ass back to South Africa. And so that's the whole deal. So this is, you see it right here. White people are a rapidly diminishing minority of global population. All of this is tied, Elie. All of these rulings are tied. They do not want to lose being the majority race. That's what this is all about. This is whiteness at play. It is my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. And today, the white Supreme Court, including that white black man, Clarence Thomas, they lost their minds with this racist ruling.
And the thing is, they've already lost it. They've already lost their dominant status. They've already lost their majority status. If everybody else could just come together. And so, like, the only shred of hope that I can take from today's ridiculous day is that I would hope that other Latinos of goodwill and good conscience could perhaps rise up together with black people, with Asian people, with Native American people. Because if we all hang together, the GOP can't win. If we all hang together, the white supremacists can't win, right? There are enough of us plus a few good-meaning whites that if we stick together and come together, these racists will lose. But we have to all come together, because if we keep doing this, the divide and conquer strategy, which has always been the white man strategy, you can go back to how they colonize most of the rest of the world. The divide and conquer strategy has always been the white man's greatest strategy. And if we could just take that away from them, they would lose.
Elie Mystal with The Nation. Folks, y'all check out his piece by going to thenation.com. Elie, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much for your time.
Christopher, I want to start with you. I mean, I appreciate it. Christopher, I'll start with you. This is whiteness at play. I mean, this ruling, how more racist can you get to say, oh, yeah, if they look, sound, smell, act Latino, y'all can stop them. Go right ahead.
Well, we know that this isn't the first time. In fact, I was actually surprised. I was like, wow, well, black people have been racially profiled since we've been over in this country. So now we just have de jure racism. They just wanted to put it in writing. Maybe it's more convenient for them that way. I don't know. But they've always done this. Now they just want to make it legally of saying, well, you can't sue us over this anymore. Or, hey, guys, guess what? This country really is not free for immigrants or anyone else that does not look white. We want to make sure that you know that, and we are putting it in the books to let you know that we consider you a threat, and we will go and stop and talk to you. That Constitution that we wrote, we didn't write it for you. In fact, they explicitly say they didn't write this Constitution for us. They are going back to originalism, not originalism of the ideals of justice, the originalism of racism. And they're going to continuously do that. Y'all, we are 1,229 days until the Trump presidency is over. Okay? 1,229 days. He has not even been done with a quarter of his presidency. There is so much more that's going to come down the pipeline. Am I surprised about this? No, because again, this has happened to black people. Now it's happening to Hispanics. Next, like was said before, it's going to happen to Asians. It's going to happen to literally everyone. And you know why? Well, there's a reason why he's deploying the National Guard in major minority cities, because that's where the minorities are, because the Army and the National Guard need to practice rounding up people. 1,229 days. If you think this man is going to go easily or peacefully, he's not. And he's making sure that he exercises this power now. So, and he's using the Supreme Court to make this happen. This is a war. He changed the Department of Defense to a Department of War for a reason. This is a time that we all have to wake up and say, look, if there's going to be a war for our democracy, we have to fight to maintain it. Otherwise, this type of de jure racism, this is just one. Okay? There's going to be plenty more that happens in the future. The question is, are we going to show up to vote to stop it? Are we going to make sure our communities are immune from it? And are we going to fight back?
AD, it's called a Latino wake-up call. That's what this is.
Yes, it is. And I think that this should also be a call to us to understand that, like, when injustice is codified by law, that we are duty bound to resist, organize and resist. And so I think that that's where we are now. And I wish that I could say that I was surprised by any of this, but of course I'm not. But the kind of fighting that has to happen at this point, of course, it's reacting to this particular ruling, but I think that folks also need to start thinking about being proactive with regard to all of the things that we can kind of, the tea leaves that we can read that let us know what is coming in the next 1,000 and something days.
But Congo, here's the deal. We can't organize for them. They're going to organize for themselves. They have got to wake up. He dramatically increases Latino support. Many of them were voting for the deportations. Now they're realizing, y'all ain't white. Y'all might think y'all white. You might call yourself a white Hispanic, but you ain't white. Supreme Court just said, you brown.
Yeah, period, bottom line. And one of the things that was said during this panel discussion, as well as, of Elie as well, is that if we had the solidarity, we could win. We could defeat all of this. The fact of the matter is, Washington Post talks about democracy dies in darkness. It doesn't. It dies in the light of day. And right now, people are just handing this country over to Donald Trump through our inability to come together. The business community is working in cahoots with him. When you look at, so why aren't we in our community? Well, we are with like Target and other places, but there should be massive campaigns of withdrawing from businesses, that support this individual. There should be, more conversations about how we can protest and work together to support each other through this process. But he keeps folks divided. Some of us said already that, it's just a matter of time before they come for Asians. Well, hey, Roland, last week they did. 475 South Korean people arrested at that plant in Georgia. The government of South Korea is sending a charter ship to take 300 of them back home. So they're already coming for every other group. How long is it going to take? Trump hasn't fired, a single shot necessarily. He hasn't, fired any machine gun bullets. It's all through not through legislation. It's all through working with the Supreme Court, who has given him the authority to do whatever he wants. It's all through a weak Congress that has given him the power. We got to fight Congress then. So we got to fight the business community then. Then we got to fight the Supreme Court. It's in our DNA. It's in our blood. But we can't do this alone. We can fight. We can resist. But there's not enough of us to make this happen. And so if this isn't the wake-up call for members of that community, Roland, I don't know what is. But I know that we're talking about over 1,000 days of his administration. Our focus has got to be these midterms and all of these other special elections that are going to be coming up as well, because those are going to be the ways that we slowly start to gain power, just like we've seen the Democrats win the majority of special elections that have happened since Trump has come into power. So it's not over yet, and I doubt it's going to be over if we don't give up, but we have to continue to coalition build. I've cited Fred Hampton before, and I'm going to cite him again. He was building with rural whites and then other folks throughout the country. We need that type of movement and that type of unity now.
And one more thing here in this whole space here, the Trump administration, they are taking a strong stance on visa regulations, granting consular officers the authority to revoke visas at any time. They're proposing a new rule that would limit student and exchange visas to a maximum of 4 years. Thousands of visas have already been revoked in Nigeria, often abruptly and without prior warning, even after individuals had received initial approval. The U.S. Embassy defends these actions as legal measures under the Immigration and Nationality Act aimed at enhancing national security and public safety. This crackdown focuses on issues such as overstays, alleged criminal activity, and linked to terrorism, with over 6,000 student visas canceled this year alone. Meanwhile, many Nigerians report that these sudden visa cancellations have disrupted their academic pursuits, hindered business activities, and caused significant personal hardship. The government continues to prioritize security concerns over diplomatic relations. And look, we told y'all, they don't want black people here. They don't want no African nations. They don't want Jamaicans, Bahamians, Bermudans. They don't want black people. Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, they want white people to be immigrants in this country, pure and simple. Folks, going to a break. We come back. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has a news conference today talking about a critically important issue. We'll tell you what that is when we come back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. The goal is to raise $1 million between now and December 31st. If you want to support us, please do so by using Stripe QR code for Cash App. You see it right there on the screen. Also, that QR code can be used for credit card applications. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks and money orders, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 2003 7-0196. Back in a moment.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage. as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I have name recognition, but I tour more than any rapper. And it's a lot of overseas stuff. And it's like I'm going all over the. I've been to 80 countries in my lifetime. And sometimes I'll do interviews with people, and they be like, "So, what you been doing?" Like, what you been doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just came back from Belgium and Brazil and South Africa. What you been doing?
Right.
This week on the other side of change.
DC has been ravaged and taken over by tanks, soldiers, police officers over the last 2 weeks, and it's only starting there. Trump has announced that he also has plans to bring this to Chicago, Baltimore, and New York City. So we're going to dig into it. This is On the Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Marissa Mitchell, a news anchor at Fox 5 DC.
Hey, what's up? It's Tammy Roman, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, of course, Hakeem Jeffries, who, of course, is the Democratic leader on the House side, held a news conference today. We live streamed that particular news conference right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. He named the Democrats to the Republicans' new January 6th committee. I'm not sure what the hell they're going to be investigating, but this is what he had to say today.
January 6, 2021, a violent mob incited by Donald Trump viciously attacked the Capitol as part of an effort to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election and halt the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in American history. The mob brutally attacked and beat police officers, seriously injuring more than 140 brave men and women of law enforcement. It was an unprecedented assault on the American way of life, on the rule of law, and on the very fabric of our democracy. Donald Trump and House Republicans are now determined to whitewash that day that will always live in infamy. House Democrats will not let it happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Donald Trump and House Republicans spent all of last year promising to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America. In fact, Donald Trump promised that he would lower costs on day one. That hasn't happened. Why didn't it happen? Because on day one, Donald Trump was too busy pardoning hundreds of violent felons who brutally beat police officers on January 6th. It's shameful. It was shameful then, and it will always be shameful. And under the leadership of Democrats on this so-called January 6th subcommittee, we will make sure that the American people continue to receive the unfiltered truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Leader Jeffries was a hero on January 6th when he insisted that we go back to the floor and complete the counting of Electoral College votes. And he's a hero again now as he opposes this absurd and ridiculous effort by the Republicans, again, to spread lies when the truth is completely known.
Since the Civil War, what are the 3 most important dates in American history? December 7, 1941, September 11, and January 6. The last 2, I didn't even have to give you the years because they are seared into our memories. And because we saw them with our own eyes. But now, Donald Trump has pardoned all the insurrectionists, telling the country whatever crime they commit, even if you kill somebody and it's in his name, you walk. Donald Trump has made villains of the cops who tried to stop them, even those cops who died. He's gone after those who have investigated him or helped impeach him over January 6th, and he's even forced the Smithsonian to whitewash and take his name off the January 6th impeachment exhibit.
It is so interesting that we stand here and we're talking about relitigating what has been litigated not once, but twice. And now they have decided that they want to go a third round. You see, if we recall, there was a January 6th committee that had come together. And because of the work that was done on that select committee, we ended up with a number of indictments. And when I say a number, I'm not talking about 5 or 6. I'm talking about well over 1,000 people that were indicted. And then after being indicted, meaning that a grand jury was able to hear the evidence and decide that there was enough for the Department of Justice to go forward. We had a number of cases that were tried. We had a number of defendants that actually entered pleas of guilty. So explain to me why it is that now that we have Trump back in office, they decide that they want to litigate this over again. Here's the reality. I can tell you that the results will still be the same. On that day, there was an attempt to tear apart our democracy brick by brick. In fact, they laid the foundation, unfortunately, for what we are experiencing right now. Because if those in power had done what they should have done, which was to go through with an impeachment conviction, none of us would be enduring what we are enduring now. But again, why now do we want to do this? I personally believe that this is about distractions and division. You see, the president doesn't want you to focus on things such as his involvement with the Epstein files. You see, the president doesn't want you to focus on things that he promised on the campaign trail, such as to lower costs for the American people. The president doesn't want you to focus on his failed secretary of HHS and the fact that we know almost 100 children thus far have died from something like measles. He doesn't want you to focus on the things that truly matter to the American people that are trying to survive now. Instead, again, he wants to divide and distract. So let me be clear. We are not going to allow them to whitewash this. In fact, the leader was very thoughtful when he decided to put together this team. All of us know a little something about the law because we've all practiced law. And we are going to make sure that the American people get the truth, no matter how many lies they put out there. On January 6th, Donald Trump not only incited the attack, he doubled down by pardoning those violent insurrectionists. And when did he do that? On his very first day in office. It sends a dangerous message that violence against our democracy is rewarded, not punished. No one, no matter how powerful, is above the law. On this subcommittee, we will follow the facts. We will expose the lies, and we will continue to hold accountable those that tried to overthrow the will of the people, including the president. This is not about Democrats versus Republicans. This is about defending the Constitution we all swore an oath to uphold. The American people deserve honesty, accountability, and leaders who will protect democracy, not tear it down. I am committed to making sure that the American people know the truth about January 6th and remember all those responsible for the defilement of the Capitol.
Well, Ome Congo, this is going to be an effort to whitewash. We know what this is going to turn out to look like.
Yeah, and when I first heard about Hakeem, Representative Jeffries even participating in this, I was like, come on, man. But then when I saw who he put on it, particularly, Representative Crockett, and even, Raskin has been very vocal about this as well, but Representative Crockett in particular, I at least know that whatever's going to happen with this commission is that it's going to be given to us straight, no chaser. We're going to get the truth. We're going to get the facts. She's going to hold them accountable in every way, shape, or form, as well as the other members on this committee. And at the end of the day, it is important that when these committees are appointed, that we just don't say, well, these Republicans are just going to do what they want to do. We need to show up and we need to be present to document what's happening, as well as do what we've been talking about this entire show, not just letting stuff fly, challenging the nonsense wherever it is seen, and letting people know that we're not going to go quietly into the night while they try to rewrite history. So I was skeptical about this at the beginning, but now I'm very glad that he's doing this, because we need to be present in every attempt that they make to try to whitewash and rewrite history.
AD, all I expected, a whole bunch of GOP white right lies.
Yep. Well, they need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals, but they took many of them off the street of D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good in 10 years and 20 years and 2 years. They're going to be criminals. I think that, it's silly to relitigate a thing, of course, that we all understand, and the metaphors of war and cleaning up and everything else that they're talking about with regard to Chicago and all of these other places where Black folks are probably should be focused squarely on this particular issue. And so the hypocrisy just kind of jumps out at you. But, I'll let Trump's words speak for him.
Christopher.
But you know what? I mean, white people are wild. I mean, you remember Charlottesville? Jews will not replace us. I mean, January 6th, it doesn't stop. It just continuously and continuously. I'm honestly not baffled anymore. A lot of this has to deal with a certain group of people who are uneducated because they choose to believe in lies instead of the truth. And that's why this panel is very important, that we actually do have representation of people who will tell the truth. There's a reason why they are banning books in schools and libraries. It's because they don't want the truth, or they do not want you to listen. They don't want you to be able to think on your own. So it's going to continuously happen like this until we actually do take back power. But we have to make sure that we maintain the historical record. History is going to judge us on this moment. They're going to ask, what did we do to put up a fight when democracy was at stake? I can say with the people on this panel, with you, Roland, great job. This will be take-rid. This will be on the internet for quite some time, unless they try to erase it. So it's incumbent upon us to make sure that truth is always told. The African American Museum, the Smithsonian, that's under attack right now. Our history is under attack. If we lose our history, we lose our culture, and we lose ourselves. So I hope that this actually does work out well, but it's going to take all of us to make sure that history is preserved.
All right, folks, hold tight 1 second. We're going to go to the break. We come back. It's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. This impacts a lot of Black men. We'll discuss that next, right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered Network, live from Montgomery, Alabama.
Table with me, Greg Carr. Immigrants lured off Texas streets and shipped to places like Martha's Vineyard and Washington, D.C. Believe it or not, we've seen it all before.
You people in the North, you're so sympathetic to Black people, you take them.
60 years ago, they called it the reverse freedom rides. Back then, Southern governors shipped Black people north with the false promise of jobs and a better life. It's a part of a well-known playbook being brought back to life. So what's next? That's next on the Black Table, a conversation with Dr. Gerald Horne about this issue of the reverse freedom rides, right here on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, We own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Black Star Network, what's happening? It's your man, Kim. And look, my new single, Rock With Me, is on fire. We debuted as the #1 most added and greatest gainer at R&B radio. So look, I want you to go check it out at musicbykim.com. Listen to it, download it, tell me what you think about it. Also, make sure you sign up to be a part of my community so we can stay connected. At Music by Kim on all social media platforms. Thank you for rocking with me. And keep love on the one.
'Cause I want you to rock with me. We live in a strange world till the darkness falls forever. Baby, let's be the dawn when it feels like it's taking me over. You're making me stronger, my sweet love.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
DC has been ravaged and taken over by tanks, soldiers, police officers over the last 2 weeks, and it's only starting there. Trump has announced that he also has plans to bring this to Chicago, Baltimore, and New York City. So we're going to dig into it. This is On the Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Russell L. Honoré, Lieutenant General, United States Army, retired, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, last year, Louisiana State University made history by appointing Alina Allen as the first black female dean of their law school. Well, guess what? She's now gone. She said she's being forced to step down. She alleges that university leaders pressured her to resign after she raised concerns about financial issues that had persisted before her tenure. She believed she was held to a stricter standard than her predecessors. Her attorney has characterized the situation as racial and gender discrimination, as well as retaliation for whistleblowing, and has indicated that legal action may be pursued. LSU announced her departure in an internal email, despite Allen stating that she did not agree to resign. The situation contributes to a troubling trend of several high-profile black leaders departing LSU in recent years, including the university's first black president, who went on to become the president at Rutgers University. Allen will remain on the faculty until spring 2026, while the university searches for her replacement. You know, one of the things that we have to recognize that we're seeing, and AD, a lot of black folks in corporate America are experiencing this. And I can tell you, when it came to, let's say, the advertising industry, we spent a lot of time trying to talk to black folks who were in the business. Many of them, we call them who were Negro whisperers. They felt that a lot of us were too loud, were too aggressive in demanding equity for black-owned media. And you know what's happening? They're getting fired. They're getting shown the door. And I tell you, AD, it's amazing when you start getting phone calls from the same people who were telling you that you were too radical. We were demanding equity when it came to dollars for black-owned media company, where folks now all of a sudden are like, hey, y'all should be giving them hell. And you're like, really? And I'm putting this together with this story here because this is what people need to understand. I saw George Floyd's death as a third Reconstruction. It lasted 4 years. And these people say, oh, hell no. We're going to unwind all that stuff that took place. And so there's going to be, and I'm telling you right now, if you're black and you're working in academia, if you're working in corporate America, there's a target on your back because Donald Trump has said to corporations, whiteness rules, and they don't care. And so folks should be bracing themselves for this in every single field. I keep saying this is a massive effort to defund Black America, whether it is economically, socially, culturally, politically, health-wise, you name it.
Absolutely. And I think that not only should people be prepared for whatever is to come, and we know that it is going to come, but again, we have to we have to be proactive about what steps we take next. And so hopefully with the LSU situation, there is some kind of legal fight that is put up. I think just for the show of the resistance to the thing that we know happened because of all the reasons we can figure that it happened. At the same time, we also need to be thinking about what institutions we are building and organizing on the outside of these places. And then also looking to folks, I can understand how it feels to have folks come back to you, Brother Martin, like with hat in hand saying, you should be outraged about this. But unfortunately, this is the wake-up call that some folks need because it doesn't matter as much to them until they are the ones who are affected negatively by it, which is unfortunate, but that's where we are.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher, again, I need people to understand. We saw that story, 315,000 Black women out of jobs since January. It's going to be more of this. They are targeting everything that's Black. They're targeting every area, every field. They're targeting it all. I need our people to be prepared for what's going on, and they're coming after it all of it.
Brother Martin, I completely agree with you, especially your statement about George Floyd and a time of awakening of saying this could be another Reconstruction movement, and yet that only lasted for so long. So they're not just trying to take us back to pre-civil rights. They're trying to take us back to pre-Civil War. Like they're saying, they are targeting Black women of saying, we don't even know why y'all have jobs, let alone high-paying, middle-income type of jobs. And they're going to continuously do this. It's not just we're going to go after deans, we're going to go after engineers, doctors, professors. They're going after everyone. And it's just the beginning. Again, 1,229 days to go. I think he can imagine on a lot of other things to actually go after. But he's going to continuously focus on the Black community. Why? Because we are an easy target. We've always been the target in America. And it's going to continuously happen like that until we actually do mobilize and fight back. But what I want to emphasize is the same thing that you're emphasizing. This isn't just something that's going to happen at this time period. It is going to continuously happen until we actually come together and stop. That is building up our own businesses, building up our own healthcare, building up our own news media as well to make sure that the truth is always being told.
Absolutely. Folks, we're having some technical issues with our doctor, so we're going to move that segment to another day. So we'll discuss that another day this week. Let me thank AD, Christopher Omekongo, being on today's show. Matter of fact, Omekongo, I'm sorry, I didn't get your take on this here. This thing, when I talk about preparation, we warn people. We warn people. There was a viral clip when I was talking about this defund of Black America, and people posted, they were like, oh man, he was going off, he was cursing. I said, y'all, that was just 60 seconds of a 1 hour and 6-minute breakdown. We have been warning people that this was coming. And so now they're seeing it. I need Black people to brace themselves. this racist Donald Trump is going to be there for the next 3.5 years. They are trying to execute an agenda. They want to destroy everything that has happened in Black America since the Civil Rights Movement. They want to destroy all of it. And so folk need to fortify themselves, and we should be building up Black institutions, because we're going to need, as Christopher just said, we're going to need HBCUs. We're going to need Black-owned media. We're going to need Black-owned businesses. We are going to have to look inward to protect our interests, because these white nationalists, they want to take it all.
I mean, if you don't realize it now, I mean, you're never going to realize it. I mean, when we're talking about building up, part of this building up, it also has to be with withdrawal, right? As Reverend Carr says during the promos, bringing your eyeballs home and supporting, networks like this. Another thing we have to do, as you have done oftentimes, but enough people don't do this, is also calling out these athletes. Like, why would Black college students want to play at LSU and some of these other schools that are doing things like this? Why would some of us want to work in these companies that have racist records? The Voting Rights Act, when it was renewed years ago, one of the things we don't realize, or people don't talk about enough, is that the business community also supported the renewing of the Voting Rights Act, as well as many Republicans. Now Republicans don't care, businesses don't care, but what people respond to and what they care about is our dollar, as we're seeing with Target right now and some of these other companies. And so if people are going to keep pushing us into this, then we need to keep pushing back. Because as long as we're just lackadaisical about it and say, oh, that's messed up, or I'll like a little tweet, or I'll repost something and I'm going to call it a day, they're going to keep getting away until it's too late. So we have demonstrated areas of success throughout this movement. We have to amplify it now more than ever. And it starts with amplifying the Black Star Network and what we're doing here, because we are the ones telling the truth about these stories in ways that nobody else is.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gentlemen, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Let me thank AD Christopher Omekongo for being on today's show. Thank you so very much. Folks, don't forget to support the work that we do here at the Black Star Network. Listen, I am here in Montgomery, Alabama. I've been at the EJI, the institute here, visited the peace, the lynching memorial here in Montgomery, Alabama today. We're doing some meeting and some planning here. And so, listen, we're focused on what's happening in 2025 and 2026, working with organizers and mobilizers, people who are out doing the business of Black America. And so we're glad to be here. I'll be meeting here tomorrow as well. Then I head back to D.C. on Wednesday. And so your support for the work that we do is critically important. We are all about building Black institutions, building Black-owned media. This is about being in control of our own destiny, not waiting for somebody else to tell our story. Our goal is real simple. That is to raise $1 million between now and December 31st, which will fund these initiatives. Like I say, we're going to be on the road. We're going to be traveling. We're going to be covering events left and right. And so we want your support in doing so. It matters. First and foremost, if you're watching right now on YouTube, hit the doggone like button. That's first. But what we want you to understand is that your contributions matter. 20,000 of our fans, and we've had 45,216 donors since we launched. But if 20,000 of our fans contribute a minimum of $50 each, they'll raise $1 million. Well, we've already gotten $125,000 in commitments. So we're trying to raise $875,000. This is going to fund 2 new shows. This is going to fund additional producer, writers as well. We're completely redesigning blackstarnetwork.com to be a news portal. And so we're trying to prepare ourselves to be the leading news source for African Americans in this country. So if you want to give to us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Right there at the bottom. You use it for credit cards as well. Checks PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star. First of all, make checks payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available at bookstores nationwide. If you want the audio version, I read it. It's on Audible. You can get that as well. Of course, we want you to support, get our gear. You see me wearing my shirt right here. It says, MAGA chose between woke or broke. They chose broke. This is a quote from Anthony Scaramucci. You can get this shirt at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. Our other shirts, FAFO Product 2025. Also, Don't Blame Me. I voted for the black woman. Resist 47. We got lots of gear. So you can get that on the website, shopblackstarnetwork.com. We also have a lot of black-owned products on our website. We want you to support them as well. So go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, our marketplace segment. You see the products. I have them in my studio right there on the news desk. Y'all should have a shot of that. And so support those black products. If you don't, y'all, we should always have that shot. So let's have it for tomorrow. So get those products. And don't forget, folks, if you want to download the app Fanbase, they've raised $13 million. Download the app Fanbase, social media black-owned platform. And, of course, if you want to invest, do so by getting more information at startengine.com/fanbase, startengine.com/fanbase. Folks, that's it. I will see y'all tomorrow. I'll be live from Montgomery, Alabama tomorrow as well. So look forward to that. Until then, support the work that we do. I will see y'all tomorrow right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Holla!